Welcome to Promo Insiders, the ASI Media podcast that covers the issues that matter most to the promotional products industry. I'm Teresa Hegel, Executive Editor of Digital Content, and today I'm speaking with Teresa Fudenberg, CEO of Storm Creek, and this year's Bess Cohn Humanitarian of the Year. Thanks for joining us today, Teresa.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So maybe let's just start off and you can tell me a little bit about your background and how you made your way to Storm Creek.
Sure. So I've always been a business junkie. Going to credit that one to my late father, Ross. We were drawing projections on cocktail napkins when I was 13. And so I guess I'm going into business and I'm going to be entrepreneurial in some way, shape, or form. In my first job out of college, actually, our whole target market were like the rollerblades of the world or the breathe rights of the world, where it was just a startup in Minnesota. And so that exposure just really led me to just wanting to being around the next idea, the next visionary, the next cool thing in the marketplace. And so when I was 26, I actually built a business around doing just that, helping brands make their space, make their way, and come out of the dust of some visionary's head and grow to be something amazing. And so amongst a couple other things I was involved in, that ultimately led me to Storm Creek. I met the founder of Storm Creek, Doug Jackson, and he had an amazing brand that was due for a change in course. And so the short story is we're now married. The long story is in coming together, it was such an opportunity to kind of have an intersection of what was my background in doing this for other companies and doing it as I owned a different brand myself and could help it realize all the potential it had. So we literally set out, we changed the ownership, we became a women-owned business. And we changed the trajectory hugely by changing the business model and going, in the case of this industry, direct to the distributor. So we were constantly making product in the past. Storm Creek was making product in the past for other people. And this was an opportunity to say, this brand has so much opportunity, and let's take the microphone back and let's make sure that we do it and build it in the way that we have the control over. So that's, kind of the long and short of it. But it's that energy to take something and maximize it for all that the potential it has, and there's never any ceiling on it. And so that's just what's always energized me.
Yeah. Well, what do you love about Storm Creek?
Oh goodness. Back to that ceiling that doesn't exist, and the true potential that is so great. But what I love is the purpose, and I know that's why we're talking today. But I truly love when a company can find its purpose, and I am so happy that Storm Creek found its purpose and is living it out every day. And for us, it is the high quality, high performing product that has been converted to being, every style is eco made, and we give back to the communities and we invest in people and the planet with what we're doing here. And so it gets me out of bed every day, and it helps me attract people and build a team. That's what my favorite thing to do is just to go, hey, all you passionate, maybe intrapreneurs there, maybe you don't want to, leverage all your credit cards and your home equity and every other thing that you own to build a business, but how about come along with us and share our values and build something really exciting with us and make a difference in the world. So that's probably what just pulls it all together for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, we're definitely talking about purpose today. And one of the things that you have mentioned is this $5 million charity goal by 2030. So let's talk a little bit about how you arrived at that number, and then maybe just some of the bigger donations you guys have done so far.
Okay, sure. That's exciting. So it's funny how you're doing something and you don't realize you're doing it. Mm-hmm. And you have something in your DNA and you didn't really think to know it was any big deal. So when I first started at Storm Creek, we began an annual warehouse sale. And it literally it's a little bit of clear the decks. I mean, we're an inventory company and We don't want that stuff around forever. But it came as an opportunity to really give back to the communities. We were located in a smaller business or a smaller town at that time, and we didn't even have enough staff to run the sale. And so we were like, hey, what if you come in and help us run the sale, and we'll give the proceeds to your organization? Or there's a great community service organization in town, Hastings Family Services, that we gave the proceeds to for that sale. And it was just started this, imagine if we had an opportunity to utilize our apparel as a force for good, because also we made a ton of donations to people who needed it. As a matter of fact, I was walking the streets of Rome just out of the Vatican in 2017, and a guy was wearing a Storm Creek shirt. Storm Creek jacket, excuse me. And he was a young seminarian, and I was like, where'd you get that? And he goes, you're not going to believe it. I'm from Minnesota. I'm over here on seminary education, and there's a company. They took all of us poor students and gave us jackets so that we could just, survive the different seasons. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So,
did you tell him who you were?
Eventually, we might have told him, yeah. But it was really fun. It's fun to see the look on people's faces. But anyway, coming back to your question about that goal, we run on Traction. It's the entrepreneurial operating system. It's a really cool way to run your business. I think a lot of both suppliers and distributors in our industry are actually doing a lot of work in that same space, running on Traction, and it makes you set a goal for a 10-year target. So here we are, fresh in, well, not even out of COVID, because it's January 2021, and we have to say, okay, by this time, at the end of 2030, what have we accomplished as an organization? And of course, all of us in the room are like, well, we will grow to this size of an organization in terms of revenue. And we stopped and we thought, so when we go back and unveil this to the whole team, are they like going to jump out of their chairs with excitement? And obviously we couldn't really say yes to that. And so we were like, let's talk about all the giving we've done since, the last 5 to 7 years. And we were adding it up, and we're like, wow, if we could work a little harder at the giving and make this a real focus, I bet we could probably give $2.5 million by the end of that time. We're like, that would be amazing. To which immediately Doug and I were like, okay, that's great. How about 5? And I could see the look on everybody's faces, especially the accountant. He's like, "Oh, we have to pay the bills." And but we were like, the reason it's a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal, and the reason that Traction is around is you really are pushing yourself on making your mark as an organization and inspiring everybody along the way. And so that's how it was born. And so really, that's been our North Star, obviously, along with the other tenets of our business strategy since that time. So anyway, kept it to myself for a while because I was like, well, if we don't really tell everybody, then if we don't achieve it, then nobody needs to know. And that was the exact wrong thing to do, because then how do your employees and how do your customers and how do all the rest of your stakeholders get involved and get excited about that? And it's not me that is the only one that needs the purpose. Everybody wants that purpose. And so that's when we really started shouting from the mountaintops and saying, hey, team, this is where we're going. Let's jump on board. And by the way, I bet all of you have better ideas than I do on how we're going to get there. So that's kind of how it all came about.
That's awesome. So could you talk a little bit about maybe one of the bigger donations that you guys have given?
Yeah. There's a couple that come to mind. And the first one is Big Brothers, Big Sisters. It started with our involvement with the Twin Cities branch or whatever of Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I was introduced to them by a colleague who knew this was our vision and said, you have to talk to them. They are all about better together, and our mantra is seekers of better. And so it's like, well, if nothing else, we kind of have the same mission. So hey, we'll go sit down. And it was such a magical meeting, because when we really thought about it, I'm like, you're helping us build a workforce. You're stabilizing a lot of issues going on when people don't have that mentor. And so the brainstorming was just, electrifying, hair on your arm stands up. And so we said, bar none, tell us what your needs are, and we're going to make that, we're going to help you with that this year. So we're well over $100,000 in of giving with them just here locally, but it's not just about the giving. So we're like, what else can we do to kind of help you and cement this partnership and both, reach our goals. And so we've brought littles in here, and we host career events where, so the littles come in and they had no idea what they want to do. So we station them around, meet with our people in our warehouse, meet with our marketing team. How about a product designer? How about someone in sales? And maybe the HR person, or what's it like to be an owner? And they would shuffle around and learn things like that. And we've done things like set up a store, so to speak, which is free, and the littles can come and they can shop Storm Creek items and give something to their family members for Christmas. So that was just a fun way that kind of hit on all of our cylinders of what we can do. But then taking it further, I was chatting with other people in distributors who obviously have product that is maybe going under a different branding, and they want to find a new home for it. So I've introduced distributors to Big Brothers Big Sisters executive directors in other parts of the country. And then just this last year, we involved the Minnesota distributor community and said, hey, guess what? If you want 10% of what you buy from us to go to a Big Brothers Big Sister chapter in Minnesota, can we do this on your behalf? Nothing out of your pocket, just on your behalf and in the community that you want it to go. So that's just probably a remarkable one because of who we are and our apparel. 1% for the Planet has been a huge focus of ours. In particular, we like to direct it to the National Parks Foundation, because during COVID, obviously we were all, you maybe had never been to a national park before COVID, and all of a sudden you're going to 6 of them or having a world record tour around the country. And so those things need to be cared for. And you wear our product to go there. So how about we put our dollars to care for those parks and keep them in the shape that they need to be so we can all enjoy them. So
yeah, awesome. Well, that kind of segues nicely to my next question about sustainability at Storm Creek, because I know you guys do a lot with that. So can you talk about some of the different initiatives you guys have as far as like what your products are made of, or just,
Sure.
what makes them sustainable?
Sure. Well, depending on there's stats abound about what's going on, obviously, in sustainability, and you all do a great job of helping everybody be aware of that. And then in the apparel industry in particular, we're known as the third largest polluter in the world. And then we're known for all kinds of reasons of filling landfills and, the pollution and such associated with us. So we also know that there's a big plastic problem. So if there's upwards of 500 or 600 billion plastic bottles used every year, and less than 10 are recycled, less than 10%, are recycled. This is need and opportunity both. And so it all started way too soon. We introduced a jacket made out of recycled bottles in 2013, and I remember going to shows. People couldn't care less about that. So we paused for a bit, found out what all we could do with this line, and really hit it full on in like 2017, so that by 2020, everything in the line was sustainably made. So the best example and the most tangible one, of course, is using upcycled plastic bottles. So like the shirt I'm wearing, 2 years ago, it was made out of 7 upcycled bottles, but now we've increased the ability of the recycled fabrics in there. And so now it's up to, I think, 17 plastic bottles. The t-shirt I'm wearing is another 12 plastic bottles. So, think of that. And when a company is buying 1,000 jackets or 1,000 shirts and it's 30 bottles each, they can do good while they're doing their branding. And then we even shoot back to the distributor and they can tell it to their customer how many bottles were upcycled. So we're all trying to measure our impact. And so we're trying to do something that, can help others reach that too. There's water usage. It can take 700 gallons of water to make a typical white cotton dress shirt. We've got an all white version of this shirt, and it's 11 or 12 gallons of water. So we're hitting it with our suppliers on every avenue, and it just continues to go. As you all know, this isn't a moment in time. This is how we evolve. And so once we got the product line going, we said, okay, whoa, there's packaging, there's carbon emissions on the transportation. And then there's our office in total. Our headquarters has gone under a whole audit. So it is our DNA, and so it's exactly where we spend our time, but we're never done. And the biggest mark we're trying to make in just our industry here, but also the consumers that we deal with, is just teaching our sustainability school. It's just, whether it all across the country and on webinars and on Earth Day events and things like that, we're just trying to explain people what the situation is, because such a large majority of people want to buy sustainably, but they weren't even necessarily sure where to start with apparel, or in our industry, can you really get volume that's sustainably made? So that kind of education is just really important to us.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I just wanted to, I think we kind of covered some of the big points, but I wanted to stop with, end with kind of a fun question.
Fun question.
Yeah, so can you give us one fun fact about yourself that most people don't know?
Yeah. I'm food obsessed, and I think I want you to be too. Which is over time I have put 4 cookbooks together, which I know we've all participated in church cookbooks and things, but this was solely born out of the importance I feel of just being around a dinner table together and what that does for America and families. And so for people who just really can't even imagine spending the time cooking or doing that, that's why I put those together. So literally, I'll be at your house and you'll be making something and I cannot leave without the recipe, because it's got to be for the next volume and the next volume. And so I think it's just, I obsess over it. I guess it's just
So
that's simple.
what are some of the best recipes in your cookbooks?
Oh, they vary, because I add the simple to the complex, because I know exactly all my friends and family and people around me that this one's made for Sally, the simple Sally, 3 ingredients, and this one is made for, Gourmet Joe, who is going to invest those 2 hours. But it's everything soup to nuts, and I try to take into consideration what's going on. I mean, I have a lot of friends that are gluten-free now, so what might that involve? And as I've been able to travel and go to different countries, I like incorporating that, and Italy will always be the favorite.
Nice. So do you give these cookbooks out to people, or do you sell them, or like where do these
Yes. Well,
cookbooks
the
live?
first year I did it, it was it was a passion play that got kind of expensive, but I was, so all the friends are like, no, we have to buy these, and I said only if we give the proceeds to charity. So it's been a combination of both, really, but it's just, I guess, just sharing a passion that I think again, back around that dinner table does a lot for our families and our future. So if I can get
Awesome.
one child out there more engaged. So probably kind of ties into my big brothers, big sisters. Maybe I should cook for them or something.
Oh yeah, maybe that'll be the next
Maybe we
thing.
tie this all together.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Teresa. This was really fun. And congratulations again on being the Bess Cohn Humanitarian.
Thank you. It's such an honor, honor and a privilege. Thank you so much. And thanks for the time.
Yep. Okay. No, whoops, did I stop recording? Okay.